Well, after a week where basically nothing happened other than a pre-season friendly, I step away for my birthday weekend and come back to basically a new signing, change to the captaincy, bids offered and rejected for certain players, and Marcus Rashford signing a brand new deal. So we've got an awful lot to talk about today, and we will talk about the upcoming news that Andre Onana will be signing for Manchester United at about 10:15 last night. We got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano, so it looks like over the course of the next 24 hours, Andre Onana is going to become a Manchester United player. He has been spotted at Inter Milan's training camp this morning saying his goodbyes to his players, and he is set to fly to Manchester for a medical in the next 24 hours before they're meeting up with the squad in America for our pre-season tour. Probably going to be too short notice for him to play against Lyon on Wednesday, but we shall see. I'm hoping that we will see him certainly by the second game of pre-season. And look, it's a goalkeeper that I like. I think he is a very decent goalkeeper. Again, like I spoke about with Mason Mount, it is a goalkeeper that Erik ten Hag wants. And that is what is most important. Obviously, I have already spoken that I would have had David Raya, and I'm sure he will still end up going somewhere else as well. But you got to look at Onana's credentials and say he is a similar sort of goalkeeper. He is very good with his feet. He's a much more commanding presence in the goal. I've seen some people in Italy saying he's going to struggle to adapt to the physicality of the Premier League, but we shall see. He didn't seem to struggle too physically against Manchester City, albeit they're not the most physical of teams. They're obviously a free-flowing team, but they still have a lot of high, tall players, should I say, on corners, the likes of Ruben Diaz, Rodri, and obviously Haaland. And he didn't seem to struggle in set plays too much in that game. So I'm hoping he is going to be a phenomenal signing for Manchester United. And as we spoke about in the video when David De Gea left, he is a goalkeeper in the mould that Erik ten Hag wants. He is someone that wants to get on the ball. He wants to help dictate play from the back. And we saw it, like I said, with Tom Heaton in the pre-season game the other day. He was basically playing on the halfway line at times, Tom Heaton, and he was still getting involved. So if we can have a goalkeeper that can do that on a regular basis in the first team, at Premier League level, at Champions League level, that is exactly the sort of style of goalkeeper that Erik ten Hag wants, which means it is the style of goalkeeper that Manchester United need. And I am very, very happy with the signing. And it also looks like that we are going to be signing a backup keeper as well in Suzuki from Japan. Now, I have not seen him at all. I think it's Suzuki, it could be Susakai or something like that. But I've heard good things about him. The reports all seem to suggest, again, that he is a very good young goalkeeper that, again, fits the mould of the style of play that Erik ten Hag wants. Now, obviously, we did see a second goalkeeper in the pre-season friendly the other day who had a very good season at Slavia Prague, and he's 23 years old. So clearly there are no plans to implement him as the backup choice, and it looks like we could still see Tom Heaton end up going to Luton Town over the next few weeks. One goalkeeper that looks like he is definitely set to leave, though, now that Onana is set to come in and the Japanese Susakai, whatever his name is also going to be coming in as well, is it looks like Dean Henderson is going to be on his way out of the football club, and reports this morning suggest that talks have now begun with Nottingham Forest over potentially either another loan, but more likely the full sale of Dean Henderson to Nottingham Forest. Now, like I said, this time last year, I would have got rid of De Gea and I would have given Dean Henderson the number 1 shirt for last season. Now that just doesn't look like it's good for the club. He's become a very toxic presence in the dressing room, and it is time to unfortunately move Dean Henderson on. I'm sure he would do a great job at Nottingham Forest, but more importantly, he should still bring in a fairly decent fee as we need to build up funds for our remaining transfer targets. It looked like our initial discussions were around the 30 million mark. I imagine we'll probably get something around 20 to 25, plus add-ons potentially up towards 30, but I'll be very surprised if we do get a full 30 million outright for him. But I think it's a good move for United. Get the old goalkeepers out, get some new fresh goalkeepers in that we can then progress from there. Other players that are in the discussions about potentially leaving. Firstly, we had a bid for Fred this weekend that was rejected from Galatasaray. Manchester United have said that their asking price for Fred is 20 million. So the bid is currently undisclosed, what Galatasaray offered. So clearly it didn't meet the 20 million target. We are still in talks with Fulham over the potential sale of Fred, and it is expected that Galatasaray will come back in with another bid. Obviously, I've said enough times that I really don't think we need Fred in the football club anymore. He is a very specific job type player, I think. But even in those games where he's told to do that job, he's then not reliable enough on the ball, especially against the high-level opposition. So hopefully we can get the Fred situation resolved, whether it's to Fulham, whether it's to Galatasaray, or whether it is to Saudi Arabia. I do not really care. I just hope, again, that we can get some good money in for him. His partner in the McFred partnership also looks like he could be set to leave as well. West Ham have made their first inquiry without making their first bid for Scott McTominay. I love Scott McTominay. You all know this. Anyone who's watched my channel over the last couple of years knows how much I like Scott McTominay. But I just don't think he's done enough in the Erik ten Hag system to warrant staying. By all means, go and watch my Stay and Go video that I posted a few weeks ago. I did say that McTominay time had come at Manchester United, and again, it looks like we could get some decent money in for him. I think he's another one that's going to be money plus add-ons. I can't see him being an outright fee. It looks like we're trying to demand somewhere between 30 and 40 million for him, and I think that would be a real struggle to get that much of a fee for Scott McTominay, but you never know. He's still got a good age. He's a British player, full Scotland international, and certainly if it is West Ham that's going to be his destination, we know that they've just got a huge sum of money in for Declan Rice. The breakdown of the deal, how they're going to get that 105 million over the next 24 months is unclear. So it'd be wrong for me to say they've got 105 million to spend, because potentially they may only have a quarter of that right now. But we know that they are going to have money available to them, and we know that they want Scott McTominay to be their Declan Rice replacement. So hopefully we can get a little bit more transfer fee for Scott McTominay by doing that. And then, using those negotiations around McTominay, there is potential for Harry Maguire to be going to West Ham as well. And before we talk on that deal, we'll just talk about the captaincy. Obviously, another announcement made over the last few days is that Harry Maguire has been relieved of the captain's duty at Manchester United. I don't think there's any real surprises in that. We all knew he is essentially now fifth choice at Manchester United at centre-back, as we already have Varane and Lindelof for the right, Martinez and Shaw for the left, and it looks like we still could be going in for Disasi from Monaco as well. So very, very unlikely that Harry Maguire will even get minutes at Manchester United this season, so makes absolutely no sense for him to remain the club captain. Who I think it should be, again, watch my video the other day, and I said in that video that Casemiro would be my choice for captain. I just think he's the most natural leader. He's the most experienced when it comes to winning trophies as well. I know a lot of the club want to see it be Bruno Fernandes, but I just think he's too raw to be captain. I just think when it comes to the qualities you need in a captain, you need that level-headedness, and I just don't think he has that at times. I love his passion. I love how much he engages with other players. I don't like that he whinges at other players. There is criticism. You look at the likes of Roy Keane and Steve Bruce. They were all Vidic. They were all very firm on their teammates. But I just think Bruno Fernandes at times is a little bit rude towards his teammates and how he deals with them. So I don't want to see Bruno Fernandes as captain. And like I say, also in the big games, when his head goes, he then just becomes a complete liability, and then that rubs off on the other players around the team. And I just don't think a captain should be doing that. So for me, the captain should definitely be Casemiro. He has a great working relationship with all the players around him. He's in the most pivotal part of the team in that holding midfield role. And I just think he is the right man to lead Manchester United into this Erik ten Hag era. Obviously, that we just spoke about Maguire and we were talking about West Ham. It looks like it could be either a loan or a permanent sale for Harry Maguire. Either way, I'm not so fussed right now. The important thing is getting that 200,000 a week off the wage bill, so we can then readjust our budgets accordingly, whether that's to new players or to existing players. I think a loan is probably more likely, because I think, again, we're going to struggle to get that much money out of West Ham. If we're going to let them have McTominay and Maguire, I think we'll see McTominay be permanent, Maguire probably on a loan, where we could potentially go for like an option to buy. But this is what I'm saying. I think it's probably more likely what we can do is we can do a deal with West Ham where we loan them Harry Maguire, but they pay his full wages, rather than us trying to negotiate a deal whereby we can sell him for a decent amount of money, but then Maguire will be on less wages, which obviously he won't want. So I'm pretty optimistic that both of those deals could be done with West Ham. And that, like I said, that would mean that McTominay and Maguire go there, get good money in for them, get good money in for Fred, get good money in for Dean Henderson. All of a sudden, we're looking a little bit more ready to make some more moves in the transfer market. And it's been a lot of talk about Højlund, a lot of talk about Amrabat, a lot of talk about Liverpool potentially going in for Amrabat now that they've just sold Fabinho to Saudi Arabia. So if we are keen on Amrabat, that's a deal we need to get done very quickly, because we could end up with another Cody Gakpo situation whereby one of our main targets gets stolen by Liverpool if we don't act fast enough. But finally, we have to talk about the news that has come out this morning, and that is that Marcus Rashford has signed a new 5-year deal at Manchester United, and that is absolutely massive, because that was still a bit of a worry for me with 1 year left on his deal, a big money offer from the likes of a Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, PSG. We all know they're looking for forwards at the moment. I was still a little bit worried that they might go in for Rashford before this new deal was signed, and it looks like the deal is done. At the moment, the wages are undisclosed, but I believe it's going to be $375,000 a week, which will make him the highest paid player at the club, taking on the wages that were previously being paid to David De Gea. What was most interesting for me is when I saw David Ornstein's report earlier, it said that he had had more lucrative offers, not only from Europe, but from English clubs as well. So I'd be very interested to know which English clubs it was, because realistically, the only two clubs that would have offered him more than $375,000 a week could have been Man City or Chelsea. So I would assume that it was only Chelsea that made him that offer. And obviously, given the fact that they're not in Champions League at the moment, and he's obviously a Manchester lad, this, that, and the other, I can't think he would have ever considered going to Chelsea. But I'd be interested to know if Manchester City did come in with an offer of more than what we were offering him for him. But I would just assume when I read that report, it was only Chelsea that would have made that offer. And obviously, as we've just spoken about, we know there are other clubs around Europe that are very interested in him. And I'm thrilled that he has signed a new 5-year deal, which will keep him at the club until he's over the age of 30, which is staggering to think about when you still see Marcus Rashford as such a young player. But he's not anymore. He's a fully established Manchester United and England regular. But for me, he will still be one of those academy players. But that is it for today. Like I said, an awful lot to be processed over the course of the last few days. Let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments. Do you agree with the signing of Onana? Are you happy with the deals that we are doing in potential sales? Should we have sold Fred to Galatasaray immediately? Are you happy that we're getting these decisions done with McTominay, Maguire and Henderson? Do you agree that Harry Maguire should have been stripped of the captaincy? Who would you like to be named as the new captain? And do you agree with the amount of money that we are paying to Marcus Rashford? Let me know all of those thoughts down in the comments. Drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. We'll be doing reactions to any other big Manchester United news over the coming weeks. And of course, all of the pre-season games as we look ahead to the new Premier League season. Thank you very much for watching.